Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm happy to be with you today. I've been talking this week about promises of God from the New Testament letters. I have another one today. It comes from 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and beginning with verse 9. It says here, each time he said, "My grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. So now I am glad to boast about my weaknesses so that the power of Christ can work through me. That's why I take pleasure in my weaknesses and in the insults, hardships, persecutions, and troubles that I suffer for Christ. For when I am weak, I am strong." Well, this passage is in the context of Paul talking about boasting. Now, you've run into somebody who likes to boast. Maybe you have. Hey, we all like to boast about what our kids have done when they've done something really great. Even when they haven't, we still like to boast. And as we get to be adults, well, sometimes we boast a little too much. Now, I know, a lot of you listening to me today think that you should be humble and never boast about your accomplishments. But you can take that to the extreme too. People who do a really good job have a hard time accepting someone saying, "That was a really good job." As a pastor, I run into that over and over and over again. And I'll say to somebody, "You did a really good job." "Well, it wasn't all that good." Well, of course it was. So we've taken boasting and humility to two extremes that really aren't what the Bible's talking about at all. Now, in this case, Paul said that he complained about this problem he had. 3 times it says in verse 8. I don't know what the problem was. Theologians have talked about it and guessed about it and did all kinds of crazy analyses explaining what it is. Well, I'm going to tell you what it is. I don't know. I just don't. I don't think it matters, really, but suppose it does to some. But for me, I don't know what it is. All I know is it was something that really bothered him. And it bothered Paul so much, he kept asking God to take it away because he felt like he wasn't as useful as he could be because of whatever this thing was. Well, that's where I started reading today. It says, I asked the Lord about this, and he said, each time, my grace is all that you need. My power works best in weakness. Now, 2 things here. First, this is not saying that you shouldn't try your best. Doesn't say that at all. Doesn't say you should sit back and wait for God to do whatever. No, it's not that it is. That just, that's not what it is. And when I played sports in my earlier years, I tried to do my best. Well, most of the time I thought I did. My son, who is an Olympic runner, see, I'll boast about that, told me that when he moved from high school to college, he thought he knew what it was to get in shape, but he wasn't. He wasn't aware at all. Then when he became a professional runner, he said the difference between what I thought I was doing well in college was nothing compared to what I had to do now. So each time a new sequence in life occurs, we find out that our best needs to be a little better. We have to, as they say, pick it up a notch. Well, even though we may be doing that to the best of our abilities, we still have problems. There's just some things that we can't do. We can't overcome. I had a friend who wanted to be a Division I point guard in basketball. there was a problem. He was 5'8", about 50 pounds overweight, and he couldn't jump. Well, there is no Division I basketball team in the country that's going to sign someone like that to be their point guard. He couldn't overcome that. He had to accept the fact that he couldn't overcome. But this passage is talking about something else. It says, when we're trying to do what God wants us to do, it's important to understand that we do as much as we can, but let God take care of the rest. When we realize, as it says here, my grace is all you need. When God asks us to do something, we have the skills that we need to do it. We may not believe that. If our lives are a mess and we want to change it, we have the ability to change it. We probably don't think we can. We've probably been defeated so many times we want to give up, but we have everything we need. God never asks you to do something that you can't do. However, at the same time, he says, my power works best in weakness. When we are so confident that we know how to do this, it doesn't turn out too good sometimes. You see, God wants to take what we have and then add to what we don't have so that we get a whole lot more. If you're just dependent on your own self, well, okay, your ability is limited. But if we are appealing to God to help us, then our potential is unlimited. You see, I don't know where you are in your moment in time. I'm sure many of you are riding way up in the sky. Everything's going well. Hope it lasts for you. Probably won't, but I hope it does. I really do. But then there's some of you who are sort of in the middle, and sometimes things are pretty good, and sometimes they're pretty bad, and then they're good again, then they're kind of bad. And you think, how am I ever going to get out of this mess? And then you have some who are way at the bottom, and they don't really believe they can do anything. Well, in all three of these stages, God's grace is really the final factor. It is the energizing bunny of everything that takes place. When we recognize that, yes, we can't do everything, but God can use us to do everything. He really can. And it says here finally at the end, Paul says, for when I'm weak, that's when I'm the strongest. When we recognize that only with God can this be done, that's when we are in the greatest position of power that there is for our daily lives and for the way that we work in the lives of others. Will you think about it? Hope you have a great day. If there's something you need or we can help with, you call us. Let us know. We'll do whatever we can as fast as we can to help meet your needs. So until tomorrow, hope you have a fantastic afternoon. Or if you're listening at night, I hope you had one. Take care. I'll talk to you again.